Welcome back to another Plate Up video. I thought I'd record some voice this time just to talk about what's going on. This contraption creates toast, specifically toast with the option for mushroom, tomato, or both. It is fully automated while running, though it does require a little priming at the start with adding these extra plates into the system, though that is trivially solved with a few more grabbers. Unfortunately, I do have limited use of my copying desks. Start off by looking at the cards we've got right now. Obviously breakfast, faster burning, we're using exclusive as all good contraptions do. More customers, more customers. Customers ordering without waiting is pretty important, though we could solve that with an ordering terminal. Individual dining, almost an essential. We just don't have enough space otherwise. All processes slower. The tomato and mushroom I mentioned earlier, less preference, and now unfortunately desks can only be used once per day, which means that further developments are going to be very slow. This machine has a number of parts. We've got a line here that produces and plates plain toast. We have a line here that collects dirty dishes and feeds them into a triple soaking sink system, which then feeds up to the auto plater, which plates that toast instantaneously, preventing it from burning. This does mean that if the plating system ever runs out, the kitchen will catch on fire, and has done in practice. In terms of getting the toast topped with different toppings, plain toast comes through here. Fortunately, diners will hang out briefly at a buffet if they see something that they're interested in, so they can grab a plain toast before it gets whisked off to the rest of the system. The first type of toast brings it over here, which gets it ready to combine onto this buffet with the chopped mushrooms that are coming over from the number 3 teleporter here. Once that system backs up a little bit, more plain toast will be shunted off into the third buffet table, which will be served with chopped tomato from the chopped tomato line over here. If you've ever had trouble using chopped tomatoes, this little system of a pusher mixer that pushes into a compactor bin will help get rid of any tomato sauce that you end up with, though it does require a smart grabber to pull the tomato slices out. And finally, any extra sliced tomatoes move on to the final station over here, which once again pulls from this chopped mushroom that we found earlier to create the double mushroom tomato line. Previously, I had a buffet table here, but that was taking a long time for people to walk to. Fortunately, I was able to get enough grabbers and teleporters to move that final buffet tray over here. I do prime the system in the morning by adding the plates to the system. Again, if it runs out of plates, it will catch on fire. And adding an extra loaf of bread because toasting a loaf of bread at 20% slowly on a safety hob will take forever. Now, the system will eventually pull enough toast fast enough that it will run out of bread, but that brief pause is necessary to make sure that it does not catch on fire. If I were to feed extra loaves into it during the day, I could keep the toast line working faster, but that will make it get ahead of the dish line. Well, let's see it in action. Obviously, this part here could be automated very easily, and we would have plenty more grabbers to do it where we were not limited to one use of our copying desk each day, which is currently working on some heavily discounted teleporters. Over the course of the day, the dish line will back up slightly from my experience, though never fully. The restaurant can also become kind of inefficient if too many people order toast with just mushrooms, as that line tends to only happen when all the other lines are full up. But across 4 tables, we usually have an even mix of customers, and no one customer needs to be fed on any kind of time lane because of our exclusive nature. Fortunately for us, if a customer does see its food that it wants waiting at a buffet station, all customers who want that food will wander over there, and if they get scooped, they will hang around for a minute, so we don't have to wait for them to go all the way back to their table and again. With that said, because the plain toast buffet station is only full for a brief moment, if too many customers want plain toast, they can get in a cycle of moving there and back repeatedly. The coffee table in the bottom left is pretty superfluous. We don't really need it for anything. If we end up having to take a side, for instance, or, God forbid, a 4th type of toast, that will likely be where that buffet table will live. The frozen prep station in the toast line over here was actually just added with this most recent day, so didn't start out with anything in it, but it'll get the restaurant up and running a little faster in the future. And you'll see that compactor trash band over here does end up getting used a bunch, and even right now we're waiting on it to empty, but there are usually 3 or 4 tomato slices waiting in the system to be used, so that generally won't affect the throughput of the machine. The teleporters I'm duplicating have already been extremely reduced in cost by the discount desk you'll see in the top left. It's not worth using at this point. In terms of cards that would sync us, there are obviously a variety. Slower eating time would absolutely make it so that we could not keep up with customer demand to move this enormous line fast enough. Customer messes would be okay. We do have some auto mops, and I even have one in storage I'm not using. Picky eaters would be probably problematic, though they have recently introduced the ability to deal with picky eater dishes. It would require a bunch of extra infrastructure and a lot of restructuring, but it's at least theoretically possible that we could handle that. Obviously, there are a wide variety of cards that would not impact us in the slightest. My hope is to be able to expand this restaurant to include a 3rd dish, either a side, a dessert, or possibly another type of toast. And this is the point at which the previous restaurant caught on fire. Because I haven't added an extra loaf of bread midway through the day, though, this gives just a moment for the dishes to catch up and prevent the restaurant from burning down. And in terms of the dishes, Backing up, you can see now we are regularly having 3 dishes waiting to go into the soaking tubs. Probably in a few minutes we'll start to see them back up into the dish rack. It was a significant challenge getting the system sorted out for the toast. The big breakthrough was having the mushroom line down here that splits in 2 directions, letting us serve mushrooms to a separate mushroom-only station, but also supply them to the ultimate combo mushroom-tomato line. If we didn't have those walls on the left, we could certainly have supported larger groups or more dining tables. As it stands, we might be able to sneak extra tables somewhere in here with some reorganization and the use of additional teleporters to create a second dish line. I've mentioned this is, in fact, Overtime Day 17, and this is all running without mods. The logic to get all 4 kinds of toast to be available was a little tricky, but nowhere near as difficult as planning the fully automated fish restaurant, which I did previously. At any rate, that's the end of all the interesting stuff, so there's nothing much left to do here but enjoy the sound of sizzling food and honking customers. I'll see you next time.